Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. It's Anonymous T. Hope you're having an amazing day today. So today we're discussing Wendy Williams once more because she's been in the news. Like the last video I did regarding whether or not they're trying to take her show by putting in all these white execs and trying to change the trajectory of how the show is. And they're bringing in all these white guest hosts for Black History Month, and that's not garnering the same amount of ratings. And now here comes another story that we have today regarding Wendy Williams' assets being frozen. So it says the following. Now, take it with a grain of salt. This is coming from The Sun, and they're hit or miss when it comes to celebrity news because they're across the pond, and sometimes things are what they are. However, the Daily Mail did get correct, though, about the other woman that Wendy Williams' ex-husband was cheating on her with and pregnant with, and them living on the same street and everything else. So they did get that right. But this is coming from The Sun. I will, of course, link in the description box so you guys can vet for yourselves, see what you guys think about this story, and because we cite our sources here. So it says the following. Unwell Wendy. Wendy Williams demands Wells Fargo unfreeze assets as bank cites financial exploitation, dementia, or undue influence. Wendy, 57, who's been absent from her eponymous daytime talk show since the end of last season in July of 2021, is asking the court for an emergency order requiring Wells Fargo to unfreeze her accounts with them. In the filing, Wendy asserts that Wells Fargo is in possession of several $1 million worth of funds belonging to the ailing host, and she has been denied access to her funds for more than 2 weeks. Her attorney alleged that Wendy's former financial advisor advised the bank that Wendy was, quote, of unsound mind, and that Wells Fargo has denied her access to her bank accounts and statements. Wells Fargo has justified its decision to keep Wendy's accounts frozen by referencing its authority under various client agreements to, quote, pause or reject instructions for a proposed transaction pending judicial or administrative remedies should they suspect financial exploitation, dementia, or undue influence, the petition claimed. The host's legal team claims that the bank has overreached in its authority, in part because it should have given the bank the discretion to pause or reject access to the accounts. Her attorney is seeking court orders by allowing her to access her financial accounts, assets, and statements, while her dispute with Wells Fargo is resolved in arbitration. The petition alleged that Wells Fargo is in breach of their judiciary duty and that the host is suffering imminent and irreparable financial damage. The host team is demanding the bank to give access to Wendy and her agents, members, officers, employees, representatives, and anyone else acting on respondents' behalf within 48 hours. As The Sun previously reported, the daytime presenter has been battling a health crisis for some time. Sources said that the once witty, sharp host of the Wendy Williams Show isn't the same as she used to be as she battles multiple medical problems. A source close to the shore told The Sun that the spark is gone, that Wendy, who for 10 years had that spark in her eyes, that cheeky grin, and that little wink is not the same now. The insider added some days are better than others for the once feisty daytime drama. She's not always functioning like she used to be. She has days where she needs help eating, getting out of bed, and getting dressed. Sometimes she goes out in a robe without shoes on. The old Wendy would never have allowed herself to be seen out like that. Even more heartbreaking, the source said, she doesn't always recognize people from who she's known from years. And there are people who Wendy knows who have worked closely with her, and they are days that she has no idea who they are. A second source close to Wendy's family told The Sun that fans shouldn't expect a video address from the host, at least from now. She really can't do a video. She's been having a hard time holding a conversation. The insider alleged that while things appear to have gotten worse in recent months, she was struggling with her recollection while she was on the show too. She was forgetting things on the show, a lot of information on stories, celebrities, names, and that is why she would lean on producers to help feed her information. The 57-year-old host has been absent from her eponymous program since the start of the season, since in September, with fans left guessing what's wrong with her, why she hasn't addressed them, and if she'll ever return to the show. And The Sun was the first to report that Wendy had been transported to a New York hospital in September of 2021, following a 911 call for a person in need of psychiatric services. Soon after, the daytime talk show host quietly hired a crisis public relations manager. Meanwhile, the Wendy Williams show would release 4 statements between September 9th and October 12th, blaming her absence from her show and any other promotional duties on a, quote, breakthrough COVID case, ongoing medical issues, and symptoms from Graves' disease. On November 8th, the show's Instagram released a statement from the 57-year-old host saying she was still coping with health issues and, quote, as a woman of a certain age, she knew to listen to her doctors, and that, quote, right now, Wendy has to focus on Wendy. It was the only statement that, reportedly came from Wendy since the start of her season. Troubling incident. The Sun exclusively reported last year at the start of the pandemic lockdown in 2020. The host allegedly struggled with her addiction issues, which spiraled into a dark and troubling incident in May of that year. Just before the host team claimed that she was hospitalized for Graves' disease that month, Wendy experienced a disturbing episode with a handful of people present as she was working from home. According to sources, Wendy's manager was summoned to her penthouse apartment after she had appeared unwell during a Zoom show taping earlier in the week. Her manager and a small group of confidants arrived to the host's home to lend support to the struggling talk show queen. According to multiple sources, Wendy had stripped naked in her room and was shouting vulgar comments. The host was eventually taken to the hospital, where she would remain for weeks. Reps for Wendy and the Wendy Williams show did not respond to the Sun's multiple requests for comment. Will she ever return? In 13 seasons, this is the longest the host has ever been off the air, and she has yet to address fans in any real way since the show went on a summer break in July of 2021. As Wendy fans continue to hope that she will return to host the remainder of the season, the Wendy Williams show announced that the roster of fill-in guest hosts will continue through the end of January. Meanwhile, there's been no announcement on the possibility of the show being renewed for another season. And they put in a disclaimer: if you know someone that is affected by any of the issues raised in this story, please call the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration at 1-800-622-HELP 4357. So there's just a lot to unpack. So some of it is kind of what I had spoke about in the Page 6 article regarding some of Wendy Williams' health issues. However, her not being able to access her accounts and saying she's of sound mind. I'm surprised though with Wells Fargo that even Wendy Williams doesn't have like a proxy, like having her son or somebody that she trusts that's close to her to have access to the account in the event that she is unable to or is unavailable to, as opposed to them freezing her assets. But with that being said, I do not have an account with Wells Fargo, but I am completely shocked that that's happened, because there's people who have had, different issues and different mental health issues and things of that nature who can still access their money and still take things out. This seems like it's a bigger thing that's happening. And I just hope for the best. I pray that, Wendy Williams comes out of this. I pray that one day Wendy Williams has the strength to come back to her show one day, and that they do not take her show. And just hearts and thoughts and everything else and well wishes go to Wendy Williams, because it just sounds like this is hell. It just sounds like this is a significant decline from the Wendy Williams that we're used to seeing on our television screens. And I just think a combination of things might have just, all hit her at once, because keep in mind, it was this breaking of the stories constantly of what her ex-husband was doing with the other woman, with the mistress, and then she was pregnant, and then we have the pandemic, and Wendy's in and out of rehab. Like, there was just a lot going on. So I think the combination of all of these things just happening all at once, I think just really unfortunately took its toll. So I truly do wish the best for Wendy Williams. I do hope there is some way that Wendy Williams or, somebody close to her that she trusts, whether it's her brother or her son or whomever, that can access that money. I mean, at the end of the day, even though she's not doing her best, she still has bills to pay. She still has to live her life. She still has to, do certain things for herself, and you need money to do that. You can't just have your accounts completely frozen and then not be able to, live your everyday life as normal, because they're trying to cite your mental illness or whatever mental health issues are going on. Like, that's not okay. Like, have they talked directly to Wendy Williams, or are they doing this based off of what the stories are saying? Because I think that's the other thing, too, with being a celebrity is, like, some of these tabloids, I mean, they can go in and there's so many things associated with you that can be destroyed in addition to that. So I'm hoping they're not just freezing it based off of what's been reporting in the news, and that they have genuine receipts that either they tried talking to Wendy to see if there was, a way for her to still access her money, or if they're strictly going off of what's been reported to the media. Because if that's the case, then I also think Wendy might have a case if they're being biased because of what's being said about her in the media versus them talking to her directly and talking to her people directly. So this will be interesting to see how this unfolds. Let me know if you guys have an account with Wells Fargo, and if you guys have ever had this happen to you or happen to a relative or somebody that that they just freeze your accounts like this. I am curious, because without anything legally going on, like some type of case or things of that nature involving certain crimes, like, there's no need to freeze our account. Like, that's just really weird. So let me know your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think? Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I will talk to you guys again very soon.